Extra Time on Tip FM.
Hello, good evening and welcome to another edition of Extra Time. My name is Ronan Quirk. We're here until 8 o'clock this evening. We'd love to hear from you. Our text number is 083 311 3311. That also works for WhatsApp messages. We're on Blue Sky if you like that form of communication. Extra Time at bsky.social is the way to find us there. But the text number again is 083 311 3311. Lots coming tonight's show. We'll hear from David Power before we go off air tonight. We'll also hear about the Tipperary supporters having a fundraiser next Saturday night, just after Tip play Limerick in the stadium. Pop across the road to this Greyhound Stadium for a fundraiser. Tipperary Supporters Club hosting a night at the Dogs. We'll have details on that. The South Tipperary GAA Awards took place this weekend, Friday night. Care House Hotel was where that took place. We'll have details of that. We've camogie with Geraldine, and we also have reaction to the Tipperary senior footballers' first league defeat of the season. They went down on a scoreline of Carlow 117, Tipperary 114. We'll hear in a moment from Niall Fitzgerald. But don't forget the Tip FM Sports Star of the Month for February. We're looking for nominations for the February Award. If you see something of a Tipperary nature over the course of the month of February, we'd love to hear your nomination. Send an email to sportstar@tipfm.com. That's sportstar@tipfm.com. And that text number again is 083 311 3311. Let's hear from Niall Fitzgerald. He spoke to the assembled media, including our own Paul Carroll, after Tipperary lost to Carlow 117 to 114. Things looked good at half time, but the wind was significant and Tip just hadn't built up enough of a first half lead to overcome the inevitable onslaught that Carlow would bring to the table in the second half with the wind at their backs. Let's hear from Niall. He spoke to the media, including Paul Carroll.
Yeah, really disappointing. I think we didn't have enough done in the first half. We conceded with a real poor turnover just before half time, and ended up conceding a 2-pointer, and then they're back in the game. But so far this year we've done quite well in terms of our use of the ball, and we didn't have that today. It's been a tough week, I suppose, or 2 weeks really in preparation, with 8 lads involved in both Sigerson and Fitzgibbon, and I think it was evident today. The boys were maybe suffering the effects of that, James Morris aside, thought he was excellent, but I think the lads were a little bit under par, and that was hard because we rely on these young fellas for a lot of the energy in the group, and energy on the field, and it is what I said. It was a real positive week for having that many players involved in the Sigerson, and it was brilliant. But it's not much good to us today.
It was 6 points up at half time, but that wind was much stronger down on the field, I'd say, than it was for us looking on. Made things very difficult the first 20 minutes of that second half. It was all Carlow. But how did you manage to get back in? Because something changed in the last 10 minutes where we started to suddenly get ball back up the right end of the field again.
Yeah, I suppose we tried to bring a little bit of more energy into it. Emmett Maloney came on wing back. I thought he did well, just kind of getting us up the field. I thought, in fairness to Paddy Fean, and he really tried to take the game to them as well. And look, at the end of the day, we missed the penalty.
Yeah.
We missed the penalty, and
Keith 11 wide, stayed 4 as well.
There you go. And I felt that the referee should have given us brought the ball up for a free when the Carlow man didn't hand the ball back. And referees will interpret different things, but that's a blatant decision, and there's no excuse for the technical decisions when it's that simple. There's no excuse for that. Other decisions that you'll interpret. I thought we thought that there was a free against James Morris over by us for the ref said he throw. Look, that's a decision down to interpretation. Okay, we'll disagree on that. I'm not going to say it was right or wrong, but the technical decisions, I don't understand that. That was there for everybody to see. And you know, like in a game like that, against the wind, so small things like that can have a big bearing. So I don't. Yeah, I'm not happy about that one. I don't think it was the reason we lost the game, but it's bizarre. I can't accept the technical decisions. They just really frustrate me.
There was a very young team out there at different times of the game. You had to make a tough decision. You brought JP and Bakatanzi on. He had to come back off. Those are often hard decisions to make.
Yeah, in fairness to JP, he's been out injured for a few weeks, so he was like, it was a real gamble putting him in there today. And you know, he was, in fairness to him, he was clearly rusty. We just thought, you know, JP has fantastic energy, and we were trying to add a bit of energy to it. You know, it didn't work out today, maybe for him, but JP's a great guy, and like, you know, very hard to make your National League debut when you haven't done anything or very little in the last 7-8 weeks. So look, there'll be no fear of JP.
It's Longford next week now. How do you kind of get the lads back together, a young team, bounce back and head up to Longford next week?
Yeah, look, that's the thing with young players. You know, we said from the start there was going to be ups and downs, because like that's the nature of young fellas. And you know, they had a high on Wednesday, and we're back to a low today, and that's sport, isn't it?
That's Niall Fitzgerald speaking to Paul Carroll after the defeat at the hands of Carlow yesterday in the stadium. Anthony Shelly was on commentary duty for us. How are you, Anthony?
How are you, Ronan?
I'm wondering how pivotal was the moments coming up to half-time. Tip led by 7, I think, with half-time imminent, but just a little bit of lack of seeing out the first half gave Carlow something to go into the dressing room with that perhaps inspired them a little bit more than was necessary.
Yeah, they definitely went in with a pep in their step after that. Like, and I actually, to be fair, I thought it was a soft enough read that was given against us at the time. I thought went for the ball, and I thought it was harsh enough. But that said, it was it was just outside the arc, so it was a good kick from Chris Blake to into the win for 2 points. That's, there's a huge difference between going in 7 down and going in 5 down, particularly with the new rules. And it definitely picked them up. And I thought then that compounded a little bit more. I thought the wind picked up at half time. Maybe that's just Tipperary bias now, but the flags definitely looked to be blowing that bit stronger down towards the town end in the second half than they were in the first half when we were playing towards that end.
Yeah, I mean, there was the game could have gone the other way. Now, Carlow have now 3 wins from 3 and perhaps are looking as favourites at this early stage in the league for promotion. But I wonder how much, and you could hear it in Niall's voice there, he sounds very disappointed, because this may well at the end of the season be look at it as points that got away.
Yeah, don't think I'd be as disappointed. Obviously, Niall's very disappointed with the loss. And when you're in around the camp, you want to win every game. But I wouldn't have been overly disappointed. Like, apart from 20-25 minutes of the second half, where Carlow got a run on us, I would say for 50 minutes of that game, we did an awful lot right. We had 11 wides, and 1 or 2 of them would be you'd be very disappointed with them. They were handy enough efforts, but I'd be a subscriber to the Wayne Gretzky way of thinking. You won't score with 100% of the shots you don't take, and I think it's great to see us creating those chances. Whereas over the last 4 or 5 years, a lot of the time we weren't creating those chances. We were getting to the 45 and we were over and back and maybe not getting as many shots off. I think we got 25 shots off yesterday, which is good. And on another day, they will go over. So while the loss is disappointing, and I thought we did not deserve to lose that game, but sometimes we can look at stats like they had 4 wides, we had 11. We missed a penalty. I wouldn't say it was a missed penalty. I thought it was an absolutely outstanding save.
It was a super save. I've seen it back. It was really, really good.
He was really good.
99% of the time where Shawnee hit that, and the pace at which he hit it, they go in nine times out of 10.
Absolutely, yeah. He got a really strong hand on it, and he seemed to be, got the hand back to it because he seemed to have gone the wrong way for us. It was more down the centre, and he had dives, and a really top class save. But as I was saying there, we kind of sometimes can focus on stats in isolation and maybe look at our own and woe is me and stuff like. But Carlow will also, if they had lost, they would also say they missed 3 or 4 goal chances. So I think the chances might have balanced each other out at the end of the day. But the least I thought we deserved out of that game was a point. And while the result, as I said before, was disappointing, the performance was not.
So I suppose we need to look at this as a project rather than a game. Yeah. And the project is showing signs of developing very, very young players who, firstly, are getting to grips with intercounty. Number one, getting grips with intercounty at this time of the year. February is not an easy time to be playing football, let's be blunt, but it's not an easy time to play any sport in the heavy pitches. But they're getting to grips with it against teams that have been on the road longer than us.
Yeah, and Carlow, they're not top of the Division 4 by accident. They're really, well, first of all, they have amazing pace in the team. They're as fast a team as it says in the country, but they're a well-conditioned team as well because they're that few years older than, say, on average age. So to be putting it up to the leaders, is good. And while the young lads will always want to get to their destination as quickly as possible, I think you have to kind of sit back and say, if we can do that this year, even if we don't get promoted this year, all the signs are positive for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, we also have to pay tribute to those tip lads who were involved in the Sigerson during the week. Maybe that caused a little bit of fatigue. I'd be surprised if young fellas were able to go and win a first ever Sigerson for their college and then line out for their county that Sunday without having some ill effects in their legs.
Yeah, it was great to have 7 and have David Power over it as well.
Congratulations to David. Another chapter in his CV.
Yes, unbelievable. I'm not sure. Yesterday, I'm not sure how much of an effect it had on it, but it certainly would have had an effect in the preparations. For we would have been training maybe last week without those Sigerson lads. Probably on maybe even Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, or whatever nights we train, mightn't have seen those, and that's never ideal from a management's point of view. But if you look at the lads that played, I thought James Morris was outstanding again yesterday. Absolutely excellent. He's been my player of the year so far this year. Joe Higgins battled manfully all day long and put in a 7 out of 8 performance, or 7 or 8 out of 10 performance. Again, Franey started yesterday. He's returning from a few niggles and he'll get better with games. Charlie didn't have the influence that he had on Wednesday night, but he played the full game on Wednesday night and he was outstanding in the Sigerson. So maybe that didn't help Charlie, but I also think that Charlie's probably Charlie King. That is, I also think that he's probably better suited to wing back than wing forward. I think he's an outstanding wing back. And JP came on then at half time. We were asking him, Niall said there in his interview, it was a bit of a gamble. It's probably a gamble that we didn't need to take. Maybe at time we were facing against the wind. Maybe it was time to bring in one of the more experienced lads, and maybe we probably should have asked Emmett or even Michael Barlow coming in at wing forward, one of the more experienced lads to come in and do the job there, because it was a really hard ask to JP. But while I said the Sigerson and the celebrations, I'm not sure how much of an effect it actually had overall, because I thought he was outstanding. Missed 1 or 2 that he'd be disappointed, but he was outstanding. So I'm not sure how much of an effect it would have had on the game itself, but certainly it would have affected the preparations, which is never ideal.
Longford up next. Now, Longford's league form so far, they've played 3, won 2, lost 1. They lost to London. We drew with London. They just about got over the line against Waterford and had a comfortable enough victory this weekend against Antrim. We've beaten Antrim. They scored 127. That's fair scoring at this time of year.
It is. And it's hard to know what to make of it because, like, London aren't too bad. I mean, they were well ahead yesterday against Leitrim, and Leitrim kicked 6 2-pointers in the second half to come back and win by a point or two. So when it looked like London were going to pull out another win, so they're not too bad. So they did struggle against Waterford, but I suppose we've all done that at times over the years. And yesterday against Antrim seemed to be in fierce disarray there with players walking off the paddle and everything like that. So hard to read a lot into that. So it's you're really going into the unknown next week, but it's a massive game for us. All bets are back on for promotion if we win. I think we have 4 games left. 2 at home, 2 away, I think. And if we could get, we will need 8 points out of those 4 games, or 7 points out of those 4 games, and we can only do that by winning in Longford. But a performance yesterday cut out a couple of the unforced errors. The one thing I'd say about the unforced errors, at least yesterday, we were always trying to do the right thing when we made those errors. So not get too down about the wides. Keep shooting. I would be confident enough that a performance like yesterday would be enough to get us over the line with just a little bit more efficiency in front of goal. Yeah, well, that's next weekend, is it, Anthony? Next weekend in Longford. Next Sunday, I presume, yeah? Next Sunday, yeah. Okay, well, excellent. I think we have Leitrim after that then, I think. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. We dump the fences in the order in which they come up to us, I think, is the best thing to do. Yeah. Excellent. Anthony, as always, thanks for your time. No problem, Ron. Thanks indeed. Anthony Shelly joining us there. 083 311 3311. We'd love to hear from you.
Extra time on Tip FM.
For more on Tip against Longford. Tip against Carlow. Sorry, it's Longford next week. Carlow this week. Tom McGrath's on the line. How are you, Tom?
That's bad, Ronan.
Green shoots. Is it too early to start using that well-worn, hackneyed phrase? Because it's a very young team that Niall has. Niall hasn't spent an awful lot of time with them for reasons that are eminently obvious. He's a recent appointment. But I'm just wondering, it's not about the loss, it's about the style of the play I think we need to be focused on. Is that fair?
Yeah, well, I suppose the performance, as I say, is part of it. And that's where your green shoots come in. So you'll probably take that as positive. Probably learn a little bit more. Probably next Sunday again. Just looking at the table there, it's just that we have 3 games left against the 3 teams immediately above us. So they could be defining ones. Probably it's win everything at this stage. You have to win the 4 matches. And the final match then will be against Watford, which will be a tricky one as well. But they're all tricky at this stage, and Longford next Sunday will be one that. They're looking up now rather than looking down. We were looking at them as possible 2 points away a couple of weeks ago, whereas now 2 points away is getting to be a bit of an ask. But no, I think the players, they're young players. They're getting exposed to a different level, different standard and all that. And I think the Sigerson has to kick into it as well like that. It's great to have, numbers. I think 7 was on the panel or the extended panel. And that's super, not to mention David Power's involvement as well. So it's super for Tipperary football and for the individuals involved. Because there's not too many of those type of medals knocking around. And that's something to be, I think, commended, and worked on then as well as use that as a springboard for, you have players and they're capable of going on to a different level. Now, where that level will take them is the next question. But I wouldn't look beyond Sunday yet for the moment and just see what that does. Longford won't be simple. We probably caught Longford a little bit in the hop. I think it was last year. Got a couple of 2-pointers towards the finish and pipped them, and it cost them for finish. So they'll want to get their 2 points now. Because I said already, they have 4 points out of 6. We have 3 out of 6. So it's an important one all round.
And sometimes you got to, we were never going to go to our league campaign without trying to get something on the road. We got a point in London. I think that there is a this team, with a slice of luck, maybe on a drier sod, might be able to carve out an away win, which I think would be critical for their self-confidence.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, this is tough time of the year. You said already, they're tough time of the year to be playing any sport. But it's a tough time of the year and tough conditions for a youngish, inexperienced team to be trying to carve out results against seasoned opposition. I mean, Anthony mentioned there about how seasoned and how conditioned the Carlow lads were. I mean, Carlow always had, big, strong, hardy footballers like that. Without they touching you, they'd nearly hurt you. Like, so they've been around the block, like, and they know how to play, they know how to win, and they've skill in abundance as well. Like, so that's why it is hard. It's tough on them lads, but that's how you're going to learn. Like, is conditions might be against them, but get the better ground, and you will be getting the better ground, like, in this couple of weeks, hopefully. Like, I mean, nobody saw the last 2 weeks were after getting, like, we thought we were out of the winter, but we kind of got plunged back into it very quickly. They'll be back. They'll be back. You'll be back into
spring.
Ground will be getting better, and hopefully, that'll help the performance as well. But look, said already, keep the youngsters, keep them coming, get them exposed to a higher standard, and you'll sometimes learn more from a defeat than a win, and performance is important then in those things well. But then we say on the other side, it's a results-driven game. Like, so, look, what do you want to do? Do you want to win a bad match, lose a good one, or it's difficult. But like Niall set out his stall for the year, like, league performance, the Tailteann Cup then, and see where that takes you. Like,
yeah, I'm just there's a couple of texts have come in, and they kind of come in every week, and sometimes I ignore them, sometimes I read them out, but there's a couple of texts in relation to taking football out of the stadium. There's no atmosphere up there at all. I think another texter says, I think playing in Clonmel will be worth a few points to the team, plus more paying supporters. It's becoming a bit of an old chestnut that gets bandied around here, and my view on it, before I get yours, is if the players and the management want to play in Thurles, let them play in Thurles. If they want to play in Moneygall, let them play in Moneygall. If they want to play in Gortnahoe, let them play in Gortnahoe. I don't care where the matches take place if it's where the players want that match to take place. So if it's the stadium as they want to play in, open the stadium, let them play there. That's my view. I don't know what yours is.
Yeah, well, to be very hard to disagree with Ronan, quite honestly, because look, at the end of the day, it's the players, the management are going out, like, and sure, they're the people that's closest to the centre to be able to judge what's best for the team. And I don't think there'd be any other motives besides thinking what's best for the team, and that management and people in that group will do. To be a poor effort if you weren't thinking of doing what's best for the team, like. And I mean, if it's best for the team is, I mean, we're 1 from 1 in Moneygall, like, we're kind of maybe 3 from about 50 in the stadium, like, so it's not. No, it is a, like.
Yeah, that pitch, that game has moved further away from the footballing family, if you like. And I know that people reference that they know that the vast majority of the players come from the south and the west. The supporters come from the south and the west, less so from the mid and the north. I understand all that. I found Moneygall a curious choice, to be honest with you. Having said that, it probably suited Antrim, and there may have been some merit in that location choice, and there wasn't too many pitches free anyway, so fair play to Moneygall for having a pitch, number one, and making it available, number two.
There's more to it, sorry, Ron. There's a little bit more to it when you come to the inter-county besides the pitch. The pitch must conform.
Oh, absolutely. I know you can't just. I know that. Yeah.
It must be fenced in to keep out the undesirables. And
I don't know. I appreciate it. You can't just rock up anywhere. I do get that. Yeah.
No, but so you are that bit restricted, and then sort of the next thing, at that stage, it was a very. Well, not nobody's fault. It was a late call, I suppose, really. Yeah. But that was forced on the two. But it did seem curious.
Yeah.
Then you're all right, like, but we won it, and that was you got the 2 points, and that was it, like.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to move on with a very quick question about Tip Limerick next Saturday evening. If I go back a week, I think one of your parting words to us last week after the Cork game was, look, we've played 3 matches, we've won 2, we are where we are. So where do you want to be after we've played 4 matches? Do you want to be sitting on 4 points, or would you like 6?
I definitely like 6. I think everybody would like the 6. But again, it's how it's where the thing fits in with. They've had a week off, where you are with training. The Fitzgibbon came there. Let's didn't get overly burdened in that. But point on the Fitzgibbon and Sigerson. But Croke Park would take its toll on the legs. Like, so probably that would be a factor in maybe yesterday. But back to the hurling, like, it's where lads are in terms of, do they need some extra training? Have they done that this weekend? Or
would you imagine that this window of a week off was utilised by the S&C guys, by Liam, by Mikey, to front load a lot of heavy lifting? Not literally, but what I mean by heavy lifting is just heavy physical work. Is that what the lads would have been doing this last 10 days?
I don't know really what was going on. I know they were training Saturday morning now, and that was brand morning to be out. Like, but you see, different groups of players are at different stages of their, we call it preparation, or their early season training. That so they have more work. They have maybe more work to do, and that's probably how that 10-day window was probably used to get maybe a little bit more into their legs. But like, for the first thing, like, is 6 points, put down a marker with Limerick, because we'll be going to the Gaelic grounds this year, like come May, and like, and Limerick have started well enough too, like, so there's now we'll see where we are. Like, Kilkenny, hard to judge where Limerick were against Kilkenny or where Kilkenny were against Limerick, but it's all pretty much up. There's some matches, I mean, obviously the Tip Cork match took on a life of its own because of historical events, like, but the other matches then, they are a bit different. If we're looking at if we're looking beyond the league, so we're not. There's no player on the Tip panel has a league medal. That's probably a thing too. Like, so that's probably something. Tipperary hasn't won a league final since 2008, I think.
That's correct. Beat Galway. Seamie Callanan was a sub, but that was it.
Yeah, and he was the last survivor there until recent times. But it's where that fits into the picture. There's the financial aspects of it as well, because, like, that's also important in the bigger picture. But really, I suppose the bigger thing at this stage is what suits best from the point of view of prep work for the Munster Championship and the All-Ireland Series, because I think the 2025, 2026 would look a kind of nice if it could be done. It hasn't been done for 61 years, but there's a lot of external factors playing into this thing. Like, so it's how they're being viewed by the people that's an awful lot closer to the heartbeat than I am.
Yeah.
Like, so, but you see, you have your 4 points. I can't see Galway and Offaly getting to 6.
Closing us, and we'd have them on dead head.
From the point of view of looking down, well, we can't, but it still wouldn't look right coming into the Munster Championship to lose your last 3 league matches. So you kind of want to get points on the board. Get as many points as you on the board, because players don't like being beaten.
No, I think that's fair.
Don't like being beaten. Nobody likes being beaten, and no matter what team gets picked for Saturday night, they'll be doing their damnedest to win. But again, it comes back performance. What to perform. Things the last night that need probably be working on. An awful lot of ball being played to lads' feet, like, whereas if ball is being played maybe more in front at eye level, well, then it encourages lads to snap it. And ball being bullshit, it's very hard to predict how a ball is going to react coming at pace down at your boot cases. So they'd be things I think that would be looked at, because they would get made of the fact that Cork finished the stronger. Maybe they did, but Cork had their own agenda to drive them on as well, like, and had more done probably.
Okay.
And like, I wouldn't be overly upset about that, but you'd like to see lads get a bit of hurling, get your touch, and get all that type of thing better, and then see where that takes you. Like, the little things, everything you'd be looking for, really. Like, and the result then is a kind of secondary. But there's no game in the stadium of secondary importance. A win is a win. Nobody likes being beaten at home. Like.
No, that's true. I got to fly, Tom. Thank you for that. We'll talk in more detail next week. Thanks for your time.
Okay, Ron.
Thanks indeed. Tom McGrath joining us there. Camogie next.
The Tip FM Sports Star of the Month with the Talbot Hotel Clonmel. Multi-award winning wedding specialists with state-of-the-art leisure facilities and spa with food served daily.
The Tip FM Sports Star of the Month.
Get your nominations in now.
sportstar@tipfm.com. That's the email for the nominations. Geraldine Kinane's on the line. Good evening to you, Geraldine.
How you doing, Ronan?
I'm looking at the teams in Division 1A of the Camogie League, and my God, it's going to be a dogfight, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's amazingly the two All-Ireland finalists were both beaten in the opening round. So look, I suppose every game will be very competitive, and
it is going to be now because
from 1B, but they were still competitive even on Saturday against us. You know.
Yeah, like Waterford beat Cork, Kilkenny beat Galway, and Tipperary beat Antrim. Those are the three winners from the first round of the league. But Cork and Galway are, as you said, the All-Ireland champions. A good start under new management for Tip. You said Antrim were competitive. Bit of a spin to get up there. 219 was what we scored.
Yeah, look, I think James will definitely be happy with a lot of aspects of it. I suppose they started very brightly. I think went 4 points to nothing up after 6 minutes. Then probably didn't score for maybe 10 or 11 minutes while Antrim got 3 points in a row. We probably missed 2 goal chances, which if we had got, it probably would have been game over. But I suppose in the context, maybe there was no harm not getting them, and it made it more of a contest for a lot of the first half anyway. Quebec Station got a goal before half time. Look, they always look comfortable. The result was never in doubt, but it certainly was a good workout and a test for the young players who really stood up, like so Isabel O'Donnell and Quebec Station were making their senior debuts. Kate Raz, Celine Guinan, a few more who wouldn't be regulars in the team, certainly impressed as well. And I think there was a lot of positives for the first game of the year under new management.
And who's up next?
So they're away to Kilkenny on Saturday. It looks like 2:00 in Freshford. Thurles playing Loreto in the All-Ireland Schools final, and there's talk of a double header as well in Freshford, but I don't know, with the way weather is playing ball now, it's hard to imagine. But so 2 big games on Saturday regardless.
Yeah, no, it's really good for Tip Camogie to have schools like Ursuline and Prez sometimes competing at this level. Now, I think Loreto Kilkenny will go into that game as favourites. They're very, very strong. Yeah,
and look, Ursuline, in fairness to their junior team as well, their under-16 team won on Saturday as well. They won the All-Ireland semi-final, so they're facing Loreto the following week then in the junior All-Ireland final. So look, they probably will be up against the Loreto, who have a huge pick of Kilkenny County minors, who gave our minors a bit of a trimming on Sunday. So that's what you're up against. But look, Ursuline are a fantastic team. They'll have their homework done, and they'll be going all guns blazing on Saturday to try and win that. And it would be fantastic if they could, and if the seniors could back it up with a win as well. And then our under-16s are out on Sunday in the All-Ireland Championship as well. They had a great win in the opening round, so they've Limerick at home on Sunday as well. So it's another busy weekend next weekend.
You preempted my next question about how many of the Loreto Kilkenny girls were backbone that minor Kilkenny performance, because it was very impressive against us.
Yeah, I think the majority of that minor team are all available in Loreto. Look, they just blitzed Tip in the first half, got 3 goals, and I suppose gave us Tip way too much to do in the second half. Tip were much better in the second half, but just didn't start, and I suppose didn't perform on the day. And look, these things are happening. We had a great win against Cork in the opening round, so it was a bit of a surprise to suffer such a setback against Kilkenny. Long pain, everyone plays everyone, the top 4 going to the semi-final, so they're not out now for a week or 2, and then I think they've Dublin away, so still plenty of opportunity. I think there's 3 games left to try and get to an All-Ireland semi-final, and they still put themselves in a very good position, beating Cork the first day, and you'd fancy them against away to Dublin as well. So look, they'll go back to the drawing board. They'll be disappointed, but in fairness, Kilkenny were the better team, and they were flying it there on Sunday morning, feathered, and I suppose that's what we can expect from Loreto as well this weekend.
Well, we wish Ursuline the very best luck in that All-Ireland final. Ger, as always, thanks for that. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Ronan.
Take care. Geraldine Kinane with news of Camogie. Our text number is 083 311 3311. David Power, how are you?
I'm good, Ronan. How are you, Keithan?
Mixed week for you last. I'm very, very well, very well. I mean, I know you had 3 big matches last weekend. The Tip Ladies, was that up in, where was that, Mayo, was it?
That was up in Mayo. That was up in Swinford. Yeah, we were. I suppose. Look, we ended up losing by 2 points. I suppose when you have a conversion rate of 27% shooting, it doesn't help, and we just created a lot of chances, but we just couldn't convert on the day. And it was a very good performance, especially after the Cavan performance, where we were really disappointed with. And we're really disappointed not to leave Mayo with 2 points. So, look, we're going into the Monaghan game now on Sunday, and that's a big game now in Clonmel. And and hopefully that we can get 3 points from that.
Yeah, no, I think that's really important for your home game. The high school, we covered it last week. Commiserations on that, but I always think when a team like the high school gets to the rarefied atmosphere of Kearney-Bury finals, you need to reflect on the journey and not just reflect on the 60 minutes of a final.
Absolutely. Look, when you look back on it, the high school bet St. Flannan's, they bet Clonakilty, they bet Milltown, they bet Kinmayor. So you've 2 Kerry schools in that, a Cork school in that, the Leeds and Clare school in that, and then to get bet by the Green, and with 10 minutes to go, we had it back to 3 points. It was a fair journey, and the players should be very, very proud of themselves. And but
a lot of them played the Artie Cup as well, didn't they?
Absolutely, it's been a great year for high school.
Yeah, it has. Like you're competing at A grade in both codes. I mean, that's marvellous. Marvellous for
it's huge. It's huge for the area because you have 4 or 5 key clubs involved in that, and I think the high school can be very, very proud. We all want to win, but I think when you look back at that journey, I think the players can be very, very proud of themselves, and the future is very, very promising because I think there's a half dozen lads there can go on and hopefully play with the tip 20s, but also go on and play with the tip seniors. Yeah. So look, the future is very, very promising.
Well, look, and the main reason we're talking to you is congratulations on your Sigerson Cup win. Sigerson and Fitzgibbon for UL. I know that Sigerson was the first time ever. What I loved was the impact that Dahi Hogan had when he came on. I don't want to single him out because you're looking at the team in the whole, but it wasn't just the impact he had. It's just his footballing style. It's lovely to look at. He's got a really lovely football style about him. Maybe it's his low centre of gravity. I don't know what it is, but he's a talented young man. No more so than the other tip lads involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I suppose for us, for UL, Dahi has been coming on. Look, he was carrying an injury there before Christmas, and he came back into it, and he's been an impact sub. And I suppose anyone that has been looking at UL, they'll see from the last 3 games against Maynooth, against Queens, and then against UCC, our sub bench was always a big thing for us, and it was always the depth in our panel that got us over the line, and especially against Queens, where look, it was just a crazy game of football, and we ended up winning 3-23 to 2-21 after extra time, and it was just a mad game of football. And again, Dahi did the business up at that game. But yeah, look, when he came on against UCC, he got to score 2 points in Croke Park, and he certainly wasn't fazed by Croke Park, and he looked the part in Croke Park, to be fair, as well. And it's great to see tip lads, no more than Charlie King, who I thought had a great game as well on the night. It was great to see tip lads flourish in Croke Park, and I think that can be only a good thing for Tipperary football.
Well, that's the point. I mean, Niall's got his a job to do with a relatively young team with the seniors. The under-20s have a job to do as well. After Niall had done some good work with the under-20s, that's feeding from the high school. It's feeding from the UL experience. All this is big match experience. You can't buy it. Final in Croke Park, like when you're 20 years of age, you can't buy that.
You can't buy that, and look, and then there was 5 other, like Micheál Freeney got game time over the last couple of weeks with us. Killian Butler got game time. Jack O'Neill, James Morris played a huge part in the league final as well, and Paddy O'Keefe played a huge part as well. I suppose I think we're the second or third college to ever do the league championship double at Sigerson level as well, which is a huge achievement. And then obviously look, to the first ever UL team to win it as well. It's actually incredible, and and I think that the third college to do the double, the Fitzgibbon Sigerson double. So it's been a special week for UL. Yeah. But it's great to see the tip contribution that have made a huge impact there this year.
Yeah, I think increasingly, I don't know when it's best to play the colleges. I don't really have a view on that. I'm sure that if you ask you, or if you ask an inter-county manager, bearing in mind you were an inter-county manager, you might get 2 different answers bearing in mind which hat you were wearing. I can understand a lot of players are tied up in both, but But the thing about it is, look at the experience they're getting. They're playing with other inter-county players.
Like you take Brian McNamara, who is the captain from Clare. When is he going to get an opportunity like that to go up the steps of the Hogan to lift a cup? It was such a proud moment for him and for his family, for his club. I suppose, look, the way we've dealt with it, and I've been very fortunate with all the inter-county managers. Like, I'm dealing with, I think it's 11 counties that are on the panel, and they're all on senior inter-county panels. That basically less was more. We always met on a Monday. In some cases, some could train, some couldn't train, and then we just got to enjoy playing college. So I suppose the stigma around college over the last 10 years of early morning training, that's well and truly gone now, Ronan, because they're such busy young men that are on gym programs, they're on conditioning programs. You just have to work with the players. But the one thing that I can see is the players want to play Sigerson Cup, and I think Jarrett Burns kind of mentioned it in his speech as well. I really do think the GAA need to find a weekend for the finals where the players can really, I suppose, after really can enjoy it as well. Because to be fair to the inter-county, I was there when Shawnee O'Connor won the Sigerson Cup with UCC back in 2023 as well. It's very tough on the inter-county manager, so I see both sides. I really do see both sides. Yeah,
maybe a pre-Christmas. I don't know where it's best suited, but anyway, look,
it's very hard because it's very hard. All Ireland club as well, and usually those players are probably, you'll have always a couple of players like that as well.
Yeah. That's a great thing about our sport.
It's definitely a competition. It's definitely two competitions: the Fitzgibbon and the Sigerson. They should be. There's definitely a place in the GAA calendar because they're special moments, and they want to make the friendships that they make is huge as well.
Yeah, it is. I think that's very valid. You're absolutely right, and they're great watches, I think, as well. They're hugely entertaining, because you don't necessarily have as much skin in the game. You're sitting back and enjoying them.
That's the comments that everyone is after saying to me over the last couple. It's the quality, but what has made the quality of the football is all these new rules, as Ronan.
Oh, correct.
Gaelic football has transformed again, and it's a joy to be coaching, to be managing again. Because believe me, before these new rules, it's tough because, unfortunately, you have to go with the norm, and with the norm back then was all this defensive football, and it wasn't nice, to manage and coach, I can tell you, either. And even for the players' perspective, it wasn't nice to be playing. And I think if it kept going, there was going to be, you're going to end up probably losing players over it.
Yeah, well, you're seeing more paying supporters coming in. The accounts of the GAA were published this week, and you saw how the uptick in supporters coming through the gates for football is a direct correlation to the new rules. It's just nicer to watch,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Listen, David, I could talk to you for a long time. We may well catch up at some stage and get your views on everything football. But firstly, I just want to say congratulations to you and another feather in your cap and a busy CV, David. So many congratulations. Good to see a tip man going well. So many congratulations to you on making history.
Thanks very much, Ronan, and thanks for all your support.
Take care of yourself, David. Thanks indeed. David Power, long-time friend of this programme, and wish him well. That's a really historic moment for him, for Tipperary football as well. I know it's a Limerick college, but my gosh, we've a lot of Tipperary representatives on it. So well done to all involved. Pat Murphy, who's the PRO of the South Boards, on the line. How are you, Pat?
Very good, Ronan, and yourself?
I'm really well. You had a great night, I believe, in Care House on Friday night. These are really important awards, I think, because you're celebrating quality, you're celebrating excellence, and we see some excellent performances from club players across the South Board. But you're also celebrating people who are contributing to the GAA in many, many ways, both on and off the field.
Yeah, of course. Look, I suppose the awards were there going back many years, and COVID kind of put a stop to it, and it just didn't get back going again. And when we decided that we were going to go back doing it last year, we said we'd try and make as much of a night about it as we possibly could to kind of actually celebrate the division and like you say, not just the players but everyone involved, volunteers, referees, all that, and yeah, look, there was a huge crowd there Friday night. It was the kind of a case that we were kind of getting close to the start, and we were actually asking carers, have you got a few more tables and chairs there, because there was just too many people standing, So yeah, absolutely fantastic night,
Yeah, and sometimes fellas don't get those. It's great to be recognised, for what you've done. You've had a good year. You might have won a South title, and you wonder, does anyone notice? But it's I think was Aaron O'Hanlon got a couple of awards.
Yeah. Aaron got the senior hurler award, but and I just for even like it's nice actually. The clubs are tasked with nominating the players in the various different categories, and they take their time to think about it and have a chat, and they send in nominations, and that's where the nominations then come from, and I suppose there's a committee then tasked with selecting the winner from those nominations. But Niall Fitzgerald spoke on the night, and as he said, like, it's not just about the winners. Isn't it lovely for the lads that were nominated as well, kind of the week before, to kind of say, hey, Jesus, someone actually recognised what I did, like, So yeah, look, our winners on the night. I suppose I'll start with the senior. Aaron, as you said, from Swan, won the senior hurler award, and like, what a year he had, I suppose. Even the mind winning the South senior hurling with the Swan, but like, he managed to win a Munster under 20 with Tip, an All Ireland under 20 with Tip, and he was part of the Liam McCarthy panel as well. So he couldn't have had much of a better season, to be honest with you.
All capped by a South Tip award as well. That's the cherry on top for Aaron.
I kind of mentioned that to him. The most important of them all, isn't it, Aaron? Like, but anyway, and our senior footballer then was Sean O'Connor. And again, like, what a year. Like, over the last couple of years, Sean O'Connor's just become one of the most consistent, one of the best forwards. I wouldn't even say in the county, like, but just in the game, like, he's just so good. And I really, I suppose, in the last few years, when I'm actually at more of the games, when you see him in the flesh and realise how good he is, just the scoring he does. Surrounded by such a really good team, but he's such a consistent scorer, like, he was the top scorer in the championship of 2025, so that'll tell you, like, and he's hitting, like we were just saying, in the likes of the semi-final, South semi-final, he knocked in 11 points, and in the final he hit 112. Like, that's serious scoring,
Unfortunately, I don't have time to go through all the winners, but I don't want to go on without talking about lifetime achievements and club person of the year.
Yeah, Pat O'Connor, Mr. Mile Rovers. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sure, no one would have gotten inside the gate of Monroe without coming across Pat. And again, I'll just mention, actually, Niall made a very good comment. He said the first day he only came to Tip when he was 16, and he came in and he met Pat coming in the door, and Pat flipping had was very welcoming and joined the club and whatever, and he said the second time I arrived in, he was there and he was slagging me. He says, I knew I was home then, and I think that epitomises Pat O'Connor, what a man, like, It's just everything good about the GAA. I think Pat O'Connor epitomises it.
And I couldn't agree with you more. I wish I had more time, but I've got to fly. Who won was there a Lifetime Achievement Award as well?
You have the players of the Michael O'Mara footballer of the past, and Lee Miles from Ardfin, won it, and we also have then the Theo English hurler award, and Thomas Waters from Carrick Swan won that one, and they get. There was a huge support from both Carrick and from Ardfin for that. It does mean a lot, like, it does. Absolutely fantastic.
Listen, continued success to you all, and thanks indeed for coming on and talking to us, Pat. I really appreciate it.
Not at all. Thanks very much.
Take care. Pat Murphy with the South Tip Awards. Great night indeed, and congratulations to all the winners there. Pádraig Corcoran of the Tipperary Supporters Club is on line too. Good evening to you, Pádraig.
Hey Roland, how you doing?
Sensational. So next Saturday night, Tipper playing Limerick in the stadium. That's a 5-ish throw-in as far as I know.
Yep. Followed by the race night across the road in the Greyhound track at first race at 7:30.
This is an important fundraising event in the Tipperary Supporters Club fundraising calendar, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the big ones. It's not quite up at the golf, but yeah, it's one of the main ones we have. And usually it's a very, very great success every year. So looking forward this year. Great family night out as well. All the team will be over afterwards as well, so any kids that will go in there get to meet the team. And pay at the door, and under 16s are free, and there will be raffles for nice ways and hotels, signed Tipperary jersey, and a few other hampers as well.
Lee McCarthy there?
Yeah, he was there making a personal appearance.
Excellent.
Couldn't make it last year, but he said he's going to make a special effort this time around.
Okay, well, I listen. I really hope, because it's so convenient for people. You know, avoid the traffic home. Just snip across, even if you're only going for 1, 2, 4 races or the full card. It doesn't really matter. Tip Limerick next Saturday evening, followed by the Tipperary Sports Club Greyhound Racing night in the stadium. Pádraig, I hope it's a great night. Pay in the door, you say, or are tickets available in advance, or is it just pay in the door?
Tickets available at advance as well, but yeah, pay at the door is probably the handiest. Just walk out of one gate, in the other gate. Simple as that.
Can't make it easier for people, can you, Pádraig? Wish it goes well.
Great stuff.
Thank you, Pádraig Corcoran from the Tipperary Supporters Club. That's on next Saturday night after the Tip Limerick game concludes in the stadium, just across the road, basically. Barry Ryan to finish off tonight. How are you, Barry?
How are you, Ronan?
Excellent, excellent. The headlines from the TSDL: perhaps St Michael's win again, and Campbelltown don't.
Yeah, that's about the size of it. Felt like a little bit of a small opportunity for Campbelltown. Tumal Burris had some significant suspensions. And ultimately, it sounds like 3-2, it sounds like a close game and stuff like that. And look, towards the end, it looked like Campbelltown might nick a point, but they've gone 2-0 down in the opening 20 minutes, and they're chasing their tail really after that. The disappointment really probably was coming into the game with the suspensions and stuff. You really felt like that if Burris weren't going to have the same threat off set pieces without Stuart Hanrahan and Tooley coming up from the back. So you really felt if Campbelltown could get a handle on Jake Jordan, and unfortunately they probably would regret the matchup. And Jake Jordan terrorised them inside the 20 minutes, and you're chasing your tail. So I suppose it's one of those ultimately where the game has got away from them. But look, they showed good character and rallied late. And I suppose in terms of Campbelltown, the real disappointment now is we talked a week or two ago about the Clonmel Derby coming up at Clonmel Celtic being probably the biggest ever Clonmel Derby, and now it clashes with the youth playing against freebooters in the last 16 of the FAI with multiple youth involved with the senior team. I just think that's crazy from a TSDL point of view.
Yeah, it's I don't know what you can do about it, because this fixture has been set down, like it's down for Sunday at 11 o'clock in the morning on the bypass. When's the freebooters game on Saturday?
2 o'clock in the same day in Kilkenny. So you're scuppering supporters and club people attending both games. You're stopping players going to both games, and we've got a season that will be over in about 4 or 5 weeks, and we'll be twiddling our thumbs for another 3 months. It's just one of those that probably could only happen in the TSDL.
That is disappointing, because I know how important that last 16 FAI Youth Cup match is for a club, but I didn't realise that the junior team had a dependence on the youth team to the extent that you're saying.
Oh yeah, like Kobe Quinn, Fred French, Davis. There's 4 or 5 of them involved, and have been really important to that squad. Campbelltown will be depleted going to the bypass now for that game without the youth players. And they also picked up a red card on Sunday, so it'll be down another body as well. I would almost say it makes it an impossible task. When the situation is the way, not that you're looking for help from the TSDL or anything like that, but you're probably just looking for a bit of common sense in terms of the Campbelltown are flying the flags in the FIU Cup for the TSDL. Let's give them the best opportunity with all those youth players and the whole club down to support them. And there's loads of time for league games. In fact, there's probably 3 months where we'll be sitting around with no league game.
Yeah, I do accept your point in relation to the season will end to come to a shuddering halt for quite quickly, as it often does. St Michael's got a 2-0 win at home against Cahir. Just St Michael's doing what St Michael's do.
Yeah, look, these are the games they've got to win to keep Peakville honest and maybe set up then a big clash at the end of the season. David Slattery back in the side at the weekend, gets a goal to kickstart them, get them going as well. So reliable down through the years in torrential conditions. And I suppose then one of the big noticeable talking points from the game was a very bad injury to the St Michael's goalkeeper Adam Gallagher, and we wish him the best of luck in his recovery. A very bad back injury in terms of his back going into spasm and stuff like that, so I know he's waiting on an MRI scan, and look, that will be a huge one for St Michael's because he's absolutely integral to what they're doing.
So St Michael's are now, they've played 8 games, lost 2, won 6. There's still a bit off peak who've only lost once this year, but it's still, and St Michael's, or sorry, Two Mile Bar is still ahead of them as well, but Two Mile Bars have played 3 games more. Is it a 3-horse race?
No, it's a 2-horse race. I mean that with the ultimate respect to Joel Burris. I mean, I said that 5 or 6 weeks ago when there was nothing between the sides, that it would only be between the two. It's too early in the trajectory of this Joel Burris team. They couldn't, even again the weekend, Clonmel couldn't buy a goal this season, and Burris are conceding 2 of them, 2 goals at home. I take on point the suspensions, but they're just too open, concede too many goals. And ultimately, until they correct that and get a little bit better out of possession, they're going to be that little bit short of winning a league. But Two Mile Burris will be a dangerous team in the Tipperary Cup. They're the holders, and they're a match for anybody right now. But I suppose I just think they're still that year or two away, and maybe 1 or 2 signings from going winning the league themselves.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that trajectory comes to pass. But anyway, we'll see, and lots to talk about next week with Peak playing Care, Castletown playing Cullen and Clonmel Celtic playing Clonmel Town, as you've said. Barry, as always, thanks for your time.
Thanks a million, Ronan.
Take care. Barry Ryan with news of the TSDL. Just before I go, heartiest congratulations to Kilfeacle, who have won the Munster Junior League. It's their 3rd time winning the Munster Junior League trophy, and they will now represent Munster in the All-Ireland Provincial League Championship. When you just see the sort of provincial nature of Kilfeacle and District Rugby Club, that is an extraordinary achievement for them. I wish them well in that All-Ireland Provincial League Championship. That's all we've got time for. Ian O'Connor produced. We'll be back to you next Monday night. Good night and good luck.
Extra time on Tip FM.